Meghan and Harry have found themselves dropping the word royal from their domain name. So if you want to hear the latest from the lovely couple, instead of typing www.sussexroyal.com, you now just type sussex.com. Could this be a sign of the family rift expanding ever further? Back with me now, I'm delighted to say, the panel are here, Ryan, Emma and Andrew. This is my favourite bit of the show, obviously. Harry and Meghan, or as they now call themselves, Prince Harry and Meghan. What's all that about? That's what it says on the website.
I'm also really interested, how did they buy Sussex.com? That's...
Yeah, I mean, I've got a house in Sussex, right? I don't grant them the use of the name Sussex.
But also, it's a county that's been around for, what, how many gazillions years?
Yeah. And do you know what it also is? It's also now a catch-all, I think, trademark now for English sparkling wine made in Sussex. It's actually called Sussex.
She's also using her royal crest, which she was given on their marriage.
Right.
And there's been eyebrows raised in the palace about that. There's lots of bits of this website. If you go to it, it's all sort of... They still have sussexroyal.com as part of it. They have Archewell as part of it. They have archetypes. They have all these different parts of their sort of brand. But they're on manoeuvres. Something is happening.
Well, it redirects, doesn't it? From the old side. Yeah. I was checking it out, actually. I looked at Wales.com, which obviously still looks for Wales. I looked at Gloucester.com, which is about the Gloucester, Massachusetts. I looked at York.com, which is the leading heating and cooling industry website, you see. So all of these things... Well, you're talking about money. I mean, a lot of these sites, so car.com, for example, was the most expensive website which changed places. The domain name was 872,000 million.
Well, I'm amazed nobody had Sussex.com.
Well, then they put this
I think the royal family acquired it some decades ago.
A number of years ago, yes.
They set it up in... The domain name was established in 1995. You wonder whether they had it or they just swooped in and taken it for their...
because he was not the Duke of Sussex, presumably, when they bought the domain name. No. Maybe they should send him a bill.
It's very clear that they are still using their royal branding to sell themselves. It's very, very clear that they still push themselves as that. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be using, if they really wanted to leave.
And it's all a bit sort of cloying, isn't it, as well? It's all about humanitarian works and, well, there it is there.
Yep,
but I'm puzzled by the...
a feminist and a great... And he's a great humanitarian.
Yes.
A military veteran.
Celebrating the Invictus Games, which are brilliant. I always stand up for Harry and Meghan. They've got a little element of that. Invictus Games.
Why can they not just call themselves Harry and Meghan, though? They don't want to be royal. They don't want to be part of the family.
Well, they said they didn't, but they do, and they wanted titles for their children.
Right. But why call himself Prince Harry on, what is effectively...
Because the Americans love it, and it's making them a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a brand. It's a very good brand, and brands are very valuable.
I'm told there's no mention of Netflix in this new website either, which is
another deal. You do wonder if this is a headache that King Charles doesn't actually want at the moment.
Well, the trouble is they can't stay out of the limelight, can they? I mean, every time you hear them going, I don't want my privacy invaded, they do something else which puts them back in the limelight.
It's really odd timing as well, isn't it, Mike? You think about the week or the couple of weeks that the royal family, the senior royals, have had in this country, then Harry coming over, all those questions about that visit. Apparently he wouldn't... It's been reported tonight that Prince Harry wouldn't be in the room with Camilla.
Yes, but I suspected that was the case because some people were saying, he had this meeting with his father and Camilla, and I was like, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have been there. And she probably chose not to be rather than it was his choice, because I don't think she wants to see the little scrote, does she?
You only go back to the book of how scathing he was at...
he was horrible about her. Yeah. And, you can understand it. His mother... was left by his father for another woman, and some people don't get over that. Some people have grown up enough to get over it. He's obviously not grown up at all, is he?
Yeah, but there's being angry at your father's new partner or old partner, new partner. But there's then making horrific, really horrible.
But also, he's angry with everyone. I mean, he's angry with his family. He's angry with the media. He's angry with anyone who says anything about him. He's just angry.
It's his career to be really, really deeply unhappy and bitter and just to kind of
I think he's 40 this year, isn't he?
Well, he's not young, that's for sure.
I think he's coming on 40 this year or next year.
Isn't that an age when you sort of get over all that stuff, or at least?
He's been over-therapied, in my view. I mean, he's just been sitting in too many Californian echo chambers, telling everybody how terrible his life is. And the Americans are not buying it anymore. They're not interested. They're like, mate, your life is not that bad. You're a prince. You've got a £30 million trust fund. You're married to a beautiful woman. You've got 2 nice kids. You live in a big mansion in Montecito, which looks like something out of a movie. And what's to be unhappy about? All he can think of doing is suing loads of people.
Well, and he's winning some of those cases. I mean,
but he's not winning the majority of them. He's winning some bits of them. you know, but in the end, when is he going to stop?
I think the interesting thing, Mike, and we always discuss Harry and Meghan, that sort of stuff. The interesting thing is always some terrible stuff and some good stuff, and people forget some of the good stuff. I think look at things like the Invictus Games. I think is brilliant, and he should absolutely be applauded for that. I think understanding as a son trying to see his father for in the schedule. I think they talked about 30 minutes is what he got with him. He probably wants to see him alone. I get that bit, and you work on that sort of basis. And Charles had to change his schedule just to fit it in. And I think Charles, to his credit, was still working tremendously hard and had to juggle it around on that sort of premise. So
yeah, I mean, I think
that's good as well as the bad.
As a father, yeah, you would do that, of course, but you know, his relationship with his brothers, knackered, you know, that's not coming
telling
back.
thing that they didn't even meet when he was last over.
No.
Not even gave him the time of day.
Right.
And
it's incredible.
The cousins have never, I don't think they rarely met, or they may have met once.
Well, I mean,
twice.
I don't think...
and I don't think that was the warmest meeting between Harry and Charles. I mean, look, he saw him for whether it was 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
Or
I don't think Charles particularly wanted him leaping on a plane and rushing over.
Well, in fact, quite the reverse. We were told that, you know, they would have said, look, don't worry about it, you know, it's fine.
But I want to tell you in person, and then they didn't meet again. So I don't actually think that was, you know, I think that was probably Harry being a bit dramatic, wanting to make a show of leaping on a plane and rushing over. Then he went back.
Went straight to Las Vegas, didn't he?
To host an awards, the NFL honours thing.
I know.
So, you know.
It's all about currency, isn't it? They just have to make themselves relevant.
This is what I mean.
And also he kept up that link with the royals. They've refreshed that link, haven't they?
Because it's like ka-ching time, isn't it? Meanwhile, Charles, the King, was spotted out and about today. He came back to London, I think, for what we believe to be some treatment. And he looks okay. I mean, it's difficult to understand how that must be for him, because we know him to be a very busy individual. He likes to work. He must hate it. And also, anybody who likes to work, who can't work, he must be like... But
also things like chemo affect people very differently. I remember my father having chemo for prostate cancer. And there were times after a course of treatment when he felt fine. And then there were times when you'd feel absolutely knackered and very sick. So I think, you know, it's too early to say, but it's interesting they've talked about pioneering treatment, which people are saying may suggest immunotherapy. So, I mean, he's obviously getting the very, very best,
of course. He will
absolute best treatment.
And he's the sort of guy who might like a bit of experimental, you know,
definitely.
kind of slightly holistic medicine.
Plants mixed in, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely right.
I bet he's got his holistic doctors on there.
Absolutely. But to his credit, he's talking about it as a result of him talking about when he had the prostate examination. The calls went through the roof, didn't they? Lots of people turned around.
But people have now been critical, as of course they would be, because he hasn't said what this is. And
give the guy some privacy.
I'm not one of those. I don't think he needs to say anything.
They've gone as far as they can, I think.
I think
it's very difficult.
Same with Kate. I think it's absolutely her right to keep a gynecological or an abdominal or a something issue private.
And the person formerly known as Sarah Ferguson, I mean, to her credit, she's been out and about talking about that sort of side as well. So I think more people in the public eye who speak about these things, the better.
Yeah,